Hey Star Wars fans, Budget Jedi here. Wanted to share with you a project that has been on my wish list for a while. This is one of my favorite characters in Star Wars universe, Admiral Ackbar. Now, Hasbro gave him this control panel as well as a staff here, but they didn't give him an Admiral's chair. And one of my favorite scenes was from Return of the Jedi, where General Ackbar is on his chair. And so this is my attempt to create Admiral Ackbar's chair. I pulled these pictures from General Ackbar's movie scenes, and as you can see, it's got basically one small chair with a short back, and it's got all these extensions coming out of it for his back support, as well as his foot support, as well as his control panel. And so the setup of the chair itself is very minimal and very simple. So in this attempt, I'm going to use some wire hangers that I've got lying around, and I'm thinking spoon. I can't think of any other materials. I've got some plastic spoons here to make the actual chair itself. I've got some pliers for the wire hangers, and if you remember, parts of the chair had extensions that look like they're made out of flexible straws, so I've got a whole bunch of flexible straws here. And of course, to join everything together, I've got my new favorite friend here, the glue gun. Glue gun just kind of melts everything together. I've also got some sandpaper here to kind of sand off any parts that I cut from the plastic spoons. Alright, what I did here was use a pair of scissors to cut the tips of the spoons. I used the black ones here, and I cut it in a rounded shape. And so I have two of this to kind of make my basic seat. And what I'm doing now is I'm putting the two spoons together to make sure that the figure sits on it nicely. It's not going to be a perfect 90 degrees, just like in the movie, but I'm just putting the two pieces of spoon together. And what I'm going to do is take that little edge there and put some glue or some glue gun on it to make it stick together. So here's what I've done. I've glued on the two pieces of chair right here and on the other side, and I actually cut the back side of it, the tip of it, and re-glued it on the bottom here, just so I can make the chair look a little bit thicker. It's not movie accurate, but it's close enough. And if you guys are gluing the chair and you notice that it doesn't look that nice, I wouldn't worry about it, because later on I'm hoping to do some painting here. So, oh, and then I did sand off any of the edges that I cut out that didn't look as nice. So I just have some extra sandpaper here to round off the edges. So this is what I've got so far, and if you put General Ackbar on it, seems to fit pretty well, and so I'll go with that. I've used two pliers to kind of bend this into kind of a stand shape. This is supposed to be the base for my chair, and this rounded side, kind of a curved side here, I used my fingers to bend it. And there's a little hook that's supposed to be kind of a flat surface here. And the reason I did that is because I want this chair to be glued using my glue gun right on top of it. It's been about 10 seconds or so, hoping it's hard enough for me to lift. Now that I have the seat ready, it's time to make all the extensions, like the footrest, the control panel, and the headrest. Now for that, I'm actually using a thinner hanger that has basically a wire that's easier to work with. As you can see here, I've used trial and error to kind of bend it into shape, and I have to make sure I actually remove all the paint that was on it. I will have to paint this later. Now, if you notice, the extensions have these arms that bend, and at the bend they have sort of a flexible pattern, just sort of like this. I was going to use the straw, but I actually changed my mind, because what I'm going to do is use white duct tape instead. I realized if you take a long piece of duct tape, and if I cut a strip of it that becomes thinner and thinner as I progress, it's basically like a very, very long triangle. Now if I take this duct tape and wrap it around the joints, and I keep wrapping it and wrapping it, it sort of becomes like a layered texture that somewhat looks like the joints that you see in the movie. So I'm gonna just do this for all the joints that I see. It's a lot better and easier to work with than working with the straws. Taking care of the bottom leg of Ackbar's chair, and that's basically putting out a little bit of glue gun and putting over these tiny pieces of straw. Okay, so the chair is pretty much starting to take shape. Let's go through it. On the bottom here it's pieces of straws, and let's see here. On the bottom here, the foot extension, I actually put a piece of spoon that is from a white spoon. I should show you this one probably. I cut out a piece of this and just basically stuck it on there again with the magic of glue gun. And mind you, I always need to do trial and error, so at every step of the way I have to make sure that Admiral Ackbar fits right on the seat. They are all connected through several bulbs of glue gun. Now I made several bulbs on top of each other because that's the only way I can make the connections really strong. All the corners are wrapped with white duct tape. That's what I have at my disposal. Oh, here at the end of the control panel arm, I glued on a little cylinder. Basically, the only cylinder I could find that could fit was the cover of a small brush. So I used the cover of a small brush, I cut it up and I put it here. And if I can just show you, this is the control panel that he has. I can later stick it on here and it'll fit right there. So again, all of this will be painted white. I'm gonna take some paint and apply it to all these extensions. And here's the headrest. The headrest is also two bulbs of glue gun, and it's stuck on there pretty tight. At the end here is a piece of black spoon, plastic spoon. Now that's really what it looks like, and here is Ackbar in his chair. So again, making sure that he's really stable and fits right on there. The next step is going to be painting the actual chair. All the extensions is going to be white. I actually bought this acrylic paint. This is very cheap. It cost me $1.29, I believe. And I have white, I have black, and I have red. The reason I bought red and black is because I'm going to mix the two, because the chair is actually not a black chair. It's actually very dark reddish or dark brownish color. Alright guys, at this point I'm pretty much done with the seat. All the white paint has dried up and it looks screen accurate enough for me. The only thing left to do is to paint this seat part dark red color. However, this time I'm going to go fancy and actually use molding clay on the seat here. I'm going to put it on the lips of the chair and on the seams of the chair to make it look a little thicker and more screen accurate. I actually got this idea thanks to Jedi Vlogger, who said, why don't you use putty for it? So what I'm going to do is take the extra step. Again, this is pretty much done, but I'm going to take the extra step to put molding clay on it and make it look a little prettier. Like I said, used molding putty. This is my first time working with molding putty. I didn't want to do that much work. I added basically a rolled lip on the top and bottom part of the seat, and a little bit of material there to smooth it over, and that's all the work I care to do. Alright, pretty much finished with painting the chair. Added a little bits of pieces of electrical tape here, just for the sake of making it look interesting and a little bit screen accurate. The only thing I don't really like right now is the base. It's just a bent wire. So what I went and did is I took my yogurt cap here. This is actually the cap of a yogurt jar, and painted it white with a tiny hole, and basically I'm gonna just put the wire inside this hole, and that's gonna cover the whole base of this whole thing. Like so. That's gonna be my new display. And here it is, guys, my final version of Admiral Ackbar's chair. This was a pretty easy project. It took a lot of like crafting skills though, so that was a little annoying, but the whole thing took about 2 days with drying time. Total work time is probably not more than 6 to 8 hours. It's really a very simple thing, and thank God for glue gun, because glue gun makes everything so stuck together and very tight too. So, you know, as you can see, all the joints are very rigid. It came out pretty well thanks to acrylic paint. You know, I didn't bother with a lot of details on the bottom because there wasn't really much that I remember from the movie, you know, of what the bottom of his chair looks like. All I remember is this chair can kind of move around like this. And I'm sure if I tried to do this again someday, it will come out better, but this is how it came out this time. The chair is kind of a reddish brown color. Not sure if you can see that. And this control panel, the trick for me was to find a little cylinder part that can fit this, but I'm sure that there are so many other ways one could put this on. If you guys have any other ideas on how to construct something like this, let me know. But this is pretty much the way, you know, I do it. I'm so used to kind of finding everything that's lying around my house and trying to make it into something that I want to use for my dioramas. So let's put Ackbar in here. This is really what he would look like. So like I said before though, a lot of trial and error to get these parts exactly where I want them. You know, his headrest and his control panel and his footrest, but it all kind of worked out at the end. And this is what Ackbar looks like when you compare him with the other characters that are in the Battle of Endor. I kind of wish that this seat was somewhat articulated, but mine is not at all articulated. I don't think it really needs to be. So that's what he looks like as a size comparison with the other figures. And I kind of wish that they had made, or Hasbro had made, some of his assistants and co-workers there, the Calamarians, but I don't think they have yet. And so I look forward, in the meantime, to using this in a remake of my briefing over Endor scene. I hope I get to do that sometime soon. But in the meanwhile, I really appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you on the next video.